Imagine a place so brutal that your own limbs could be served to you as breakfast. Welcome to the Badlands, a lawless desert where humanity's worst nightmares come to feed. The story opens on a brutal, unforgiving desert wasteland, a godforsaken place where the line between life and death is razor thin. This is where society dumps its undesirables, the people deemed either entirely useless or far too dangerous to coexist with civilized humanity. On one edge of this wasteland lies comfort, a seemingly perfect sanctuary packed with food, water, and every luxury imaginable. But behind its neon glow lies a dark, twisted reality. On the other side, hunger and sheer desperation have driven the inhabitants to the unthinkable. They have become cannibals. With no food and no water, they survive on a simple, horrific rule: kill and consume anything or anyone that crosses their path. Today, a young woman named Arlen is cast out into this living hell. Dumped at the border by 2 police officers, her crimes are deemed beyond rehabilitation. She is officially branded an outcast, forced to spend the rest of her days beyond the fence, where the American government completely washes its hands of her survival. A stark warning on the gate makes that terrifyingly clear. Now Arlen is entirely on her own. Clutching a scrap of paper that reads "Find comfort," she trudges into the vast, scorching emptiness. Miles of nothingness pass, but she keeps moving, fueled by pure hope. Eventually, she spots a rusted, crashed car and decides to take shelter from the brutal heat. Fatigue quickly takes over, and she drifts into a deep sleep. But her rest is cut short by the faint sound of footsteps. Awakening with a jolt, she spots a group of heavily armed scavengers closing in, their eyes filled with pure malice. Arlen tries to run, but she's too late. They overpower her, striking her unconscious. When she finally opens her eyes, she is bound hand and foot inside a gutted, crashed airplane. Before she can even process the horror, a woman approaches with chilling indifference and hacks off Arlen's arm and leg, turning them into her morning breakfast. The agony is unimaginable, and Arlen blacks out from the sheer trauma. This is the Cannibal Clan, a massive, organized family that meticulously stays in peak physical shape, keeping human captives locked away like cattle to ensure their meat supply never runs out. Among them is a man named Jason, a skilled artist and a fierce protector of his small family, a family whose lives are about to take a devastating turn. Meanwhile, the narrative shifts toward comfort, a place that is the polar opposite of the cannibal wasteland. Here, food is abundant, water flows freely, and comfort is guaranteed. Back in the cannibal camp, Arlen wakes up inside a filthy, cage-like storeroom. Hearing a blood-curdling scream from above, panic sets in. Desperate to protect herself from being the next meal, she smears her own waste all over her body. The next morning, the cannibal woman returns to claim her next piece of meat, but the repulsive sight and smell make her recoil in disgust. She leaves to fetch water to wash her prize, giving Arlen a split-second window. Spotting a rusted iron rod, Arlen conceals it. The moment the woman returns, Arlen strikes with lethal force, killing her captor on the spot. A nearby captive witnesses the escape, unable to speak because his own tongue was served for breakfast that very morning. Seizing a skateboard, Arlen drags her mutilated body out into the blinding sun. She pushes herself across the desert floor until her strength completely evaporates, leaving her to collapse under the blazing sun. That's when an old hermit discovers her. He hoists her onto his shopping cart and wheels her all the way to the gates of comfort. He only roams free because he is old and frail. If he were young, he would have been on someone's dinner plate long ago. Seeing her horrific state, the citizens of Comfort immediately recognize the handiwork of the cannibals. They take her in, patch up her wounds, and provide her with a home. 5 months pass, and Arlen has adapted to her new reality, now walking on a crude prosthetic leg. Yet, while she lives in relative peace, the shadows of the past still linger. Across the desert, Jason is sketching a portrait of his daughter, Kelly. When his wife delivers grim news, the food supply is gone. With cold, mechanical precision, he approaches a captive girl who begs for mercy. Unmoved, he decapitates her with a single strike, butchering her body for his family's survival. Back in Comfort, Arlen is a ghost of her former self. Every time she looks in the mirror, the missing pieces of her body serve as a relentless, agonizing reminder of what was stolen from her. The trauma morphs into a burning thirst for vengeance. Driven by a need to make them pay, she manages to steal a firearm, slipping out through a secluded back gate of Comfort. stepping right back into the deadly wasteland to hunt down the monsters who broke her. Meanwhile, across the wasteland, we find Jason's wife, Maria, and their young daughter, Honey, scavenging through the debris, desperately searching for anything useful to survive. But their luck runs out when Arlen spots them from a distance. Slipping through the shadows, Arlen corners them, raising her weapon. Terrified, Maria drops to her knees, pleading for their lives, begging Arlen to let them go for the sake of her innocent little girl. But the moment Arlen realizes this woman belongs to the very cannibal clan that butchered her, a wave of absolute fury consumes her. Arlen coldly reminds her that she, too, had begged for mercy, only to have her limbs hacked off for breakfast. Without a second thought, Arlen pulls the trigger, killing Maria instantly. Honey stands there, paralyzed, unable to comprehend the sudden horror of her mother's death. Looking down at the traumatized child, Arlen's anger fades into pity. Unable to harm the girl, she decides to take Honey back to comfort with her. Along the way, they cross paths with the same eccentric old hermit. Noticing Honey's fascination with a caged rabbit, Arlen buys it for her, bringing both the girl and her new pet back to her home. Deep down, Arlen has no desire to hurt the child, knowing Honey is entirely innocent of her family's sins. Back at the camp, after hours of agonizing waiting, Jason grows desperate. His wife and daughter haven't returned. He ventures deep into the scorched desert, searching frantically until he stumbles upon a horrific sight. His wife's lifeless body dumped in a trash heap, being picked apart by vultures. The brutal scene leaves him shattered, but he instantly deduces this is the work of scavengers or human traffickers. Desperate for answers, he spots the old hermit wandering nearby. Cornering him, Jason flashes a sketch of his daughter, demanding to know if he's seen her. The old man smiles, offering a deal. He will give up the information, but only if Jason sits down and paints his portrait. Consumed by rage but entirely powerless, Jason complies, quickly sketching the hermit's face. True to his word, the old man scribbles a single location on the paper: comfort. Meanwhile, back inside the sanctuary, Arlen takes Honey into a sprawling, neon-drenched nightclub. A massive, hedonistic party is underway, hosted by the town's enigmatic and wealthy ruler, the Dream. He controls the entire territory by supplying a highly addictive, mind-altering psychedelic drug. Seeking an escape from her trauma, Arlen drops one of the pills, spiraling into a heavy, hallucinogenic trip. In the chaotic haze, Honey accidentally lets go of her rabbit, wandering away from Arlen to chase after it. That's when she bumps directly into the Dream. Intrigued by the lonely child, he takes her under his wing and leads her deeper into his mansion. Because he is the undisputed leader of comfort, none of the onlookers dare to question him. By now, the drug has completely taken over Arlen's mind, twisting the world around her into a beautiful, surreal blur. Lost in the euphoria, she tries to find Honey, but completely loses her bearings, wandering out of the party and stumbling deep into the desert wastes without even realizing it. She collapses into the sand, completely unaware that Jason is standing just a few feet away. The next morning, Arlen wakes up to a terrifying reality. Jason is towering over her, holding her prosthetic leg, leaving her completely grounded and unable to escape. He pulls out the sketch of Honey, demanding to know where his daughter is. Terrified that he will kill her on the spot if he learns the truth, Arlen lies through her teeth, claiming she has never seen the girl. But Jason isn't stupid. He knows he needs her. A notorious cannibal like him would be shot on sight the moment he approached the gates of comfort. He lays down a brutal ultimatum. He will escort her safely back to the border of comfort, but in exchange, she must go inside and bring his daughter back to him. He delivers a chilling warning. If she plays games or betrays him, he will hunt her down to the ends of the earth, chop her into pieces, and eat her alive. Stranded deep in the desert without her leg, Arlen has no choice but to accept the twisted deal. As they begin their trek, they encounter a hostile scavenger from a rival faction. Spotting Arlen, the man offers Jason a trade: gasoline in exchange for the helpless girl. To Arlen's horror, Jason seemingly agrees to the trade, taking the fuel and turning his back on her screams. But it's a calculated trap. The moment the scavenger lowers his guard, Jason whips around, driving a knife deep into the man's chest. With the threat neutralized, Jason casually hacks off the dead man's arm for sustenance, and the duo pushes forward. Suddenly, a blinding sandstorm sweeps across the horizon, forcing them to pitch a makeshift tent. By the time the howling winds die down, Total darkness has enveloped the desert. Huddled inside the shelter, Jason cooks the severed arm over an open flame, offering a piece to a repulsed Arlen. In the quiet of the night, the two outcasts begin to talk, lowering their guards. Jason opens up about his past, revealing that when he was just 16, he risked everything to come to America on a boat, only to be busted at the border as an illegal immigrant and thrown into this lawless, cannibalistic wasteland. Ever since that day, he has been trapped, forced to survive in this barren wasteland. In return, Arlen shares her own dark past. She reveals she used to work for the National Security Agency, the NSA, but she made the fatal mistake of falling in love with a foreign asset. Blinded by affection, she leaked highly classified intelligence to him. When the American government discovered her treason, they stripped her of everything and dumped her across the fence. As the night deepens, their shared vulnerability brings them closer together, finding a strange solace in each other's brokenness. But the fragile peace is shattered by a sudden, echoing gunshot. The bullet tears straight into Jason, and he collapses to the ground. Out of the darkness, a patrol from Comfort ambushes them. They seize Arlen, dragging her away and leaving a bleeding Jason for dead, before throwing her back inside the sanctuary. But the safety of Comfort now feels like a prison. Arlen's conscience is consumed by guilt. She cannot bear the thought of abandoning Jason to die alone. Making a daring choice, she slips back into the treacherous wasteland and returns to the exact spot where they spent the night. Jason is gone, but she finds his discarded sketchbook. Flipping through the pages filled with detailed portraits of Honey, Arlen breaks down. She is hit by the crushing realization that she is the one responsible for tearing this little girl away from her father. Overcome with remorse, she vows to find Honey at all costs, no matter what it takes. Returning to Comfort, she frantically questions the locals, but no one has any answers about the missing child. Meanwhile, far out in the desert, the old hermit spots a flock of vultures circling high in the sky. Suspecting a carcass, he hurries over, only to find Jason clinging to life, barely conscious. In a desperate bid to save him, the hermit catches a crow and forces Jason to consume it, providing just enough raw sustenance to kickstart his recovery. Back in Comfort, a disheartened Arlen sits alone, completely at a loss for her next move. That's when her eyes lock onto the dream's heavily guarded palace. A group of women exits the gates, and among them, she spots Honey. Arlen bides her time, choosing not to make a scene. Across the wastes, thanks to the hermit's eccentric care, Jason finally regains his strength. He thanks the old man and sets off on a relentless march back toward the border to claim his daughter. At the same time, Arlen manages to infiltrate the palace, finding a massive operation where women are systematically packaging the psychedelic drug. Feigning desperation, Arlen begs the overseer for a job. Here, it is revealed that the dream, having no children of his own, has informally adopted Honey as his prized possession. To keep the operation running smoothly, they agree to hire Arlen. An attendant leads her to a dressing room to change into proper clothing. Excusing herself to the restroom, Arlen unlatches her prosthetic leg and pulls out a concealed firearm she had hidden inside. Ambushes the attendant, Arlen uses her as a human shield, marching her straight into the dream's private quarters. Pressing the gun against the woman, Arlen delivers a cold ultimatum. She will pull the trigger, killing the woman and her unborn child, unless the dream hands over Honey immediately. Sensing she has nothing left to lose, the dream backs down and releases the girl. Grabbing Honey, Arlen sprints past the perimeter and escapes into the open desert. Just beyond the border, a weary Jason is marching toward the gates when he spots them. Seeing his daughter alive and well, a wave of profound relief washes over him. But the reunion is interrupted when Arlen pleads with him to take her along. Jason immediately recoils, angrily reminding her of what he is. "We are cannibals," he warns. "You will eventually just become prey." But Arlen refuses to back down, confessing that she has developed deep feelings for him and simply wants to be by his side. Before they can argue further, Honey cries out, complaining of severe hunger. With no other food in sight, Jason is forced to slaughter Honey's pet rabbit, roasting it over a makeshift fire to feed his daughter. Watching the grim reality of their survival, tears stream down Arlen's face. Yet, this is the brutal, unvarnished truth of the wasteland. Accepting her devotion, Jason finally welcomes Arlen into his world. Together, the three of them walk into the horizon as a makeshift family. Though deep down, they all know that in a world where anyone can become a meal at any moment, tomorrow is never guaranteed. If you want to catch more pulse-pounding stories like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed today's journey, smash that like button and drop a comment below. Until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.